What is going on YouTube? My name is Joshua Wade. I want to thank you for taking the time to check out this video and take two because my OBS was acting really weird. So this is the second time I have recorded this. So without further delay, I love the learning process, especially with OBS. It's very finicky when it comes to matching up with DAWs. Anyway, so this is going to be kind of a quick tutorial. I'll try to make it quick on quantizing acoustic guitars, but this applies to anything, especially vocals, acoustic type instruments, and vocals in my opinion are some of the harder things to quantize like acoustic guitars are. So I'll show you the way that I have done it the past couple of years, and this is how I get the best results. So without further delay, let's hop over to Presonus and show you how I can quantize some guitar parts. So full disclosure on this guitar part, this was a scratch track, so this is not going to make it to the final song at all. Basically I needed to map out the song, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, so on and so forth, so I just threw a microphone in front of the artist and I said, hey, here's a click track, start recording and go. So I'm basically going to quantize all these so we can kind of write around the guitar riff, but if you listen, it trails a little bit, not much, but a little bit. So it trails a little bit, and for those of you who have, maybe something more extreme that's really off, you might want to have the performer, the artist redo it. But this one is a little off. It trails in certain places, but I'm going to show you how I personally kind of do things. I could just highlight it, hit Q, but as you know, 9 times out of 10 it does not give me the result that I want. Actually, we'll listen to it just for shiggles. You see it right there. It always gets it like halfway there, and then it always just messes up somehow. But so what we're gonna do is, the first thing that I want to do is highlight this, what's that called, your bend marker, audio bend, and then click the little eyeball. So that's going to show me this. Make sure the track is selected whenever you do this, because if you don't have it selected and you try to click it, it's not going to, well, it does because I have that's the only track, but if you had like 4 or 5 other tracks, it wouldn't show you what this is doing and making it transparent like that. So the first thing, or the next thing that I'll do after I can see everything, I'll select my bend tool, and you can see how it's trying to snap me to grid. It's because I have my snap 2 on, so I'm going to turn the toggle snap off. Stick with me, trust me, this does help out a lot. And I want to find the downbeat. So I know this is in 4/4, the time signature is 4/4 for this song, so I want to count 4 and find the downbeat. So let's listen back and try to find that downbeat. There's one. So that's a full one right there. So I would mark that, not move it yet, but I would mark it, and I would mark this one because I know that's the beginning. So this is a full right here. This is 4 beats right here. So well, 1 2 3 4 1. So that's 8. That's a pass. So the reason I did that is let's say that he got everything right after this, and I only want to affect this region right here. Putting these warp markers, bend markers, sorry, I'm going Pro Tools with the warp markers thing. I'm coming from Pro Tools. I've been using Presonus for 3 years and I love it. But anyway, the bend markers these bend markers will not let me affect anything out here. They'll only let me affect this region here in the middle. So let's zoom in a little bit, and this one, it's pretty damn close, to be honest with you. Pardon my French, but it's pretty damn close. He pretty much got it for, okay, so there are a couple parts. Like this one I notice is on, so I want to put a marker there, a bend marker. So with this one, let's listen back to it. Okay, right there he trails a little bit. Not much, but I can hear it. It's not on tempo. So right there, I want to kind of, this one's on, so I'm going to put one there, and I want to maybe stretch this one a little bit. And you'll see how it's green and then a light red. If I were to stretch this really far, it would turn a bright red, and this over here would get more green on the right side. I'm pointing like you can see what I'm pointing at. So, oh YouTube. So let's listen to this. Let me get a little before so I get it in context. Okay, so this one, let's zoom out a little bit, scroll over. These are off a little bit, so like this one's off a little bit, just a scooch. See, it's slowed down a little bit, so I can see I come in a little bit too soon on that one. And another thing, quick tip on the transients. These little spikes are called transients right here. Don't always just look at it and assume it needs to go on a certain marker, because especially with vocals and guitars, things like that, like an upstrum pattern on a guitar might need to come in a little bit earlier than an actual marker. Same thing with vocals, with certain syllables and breaths and things like that. You might want to keep them there where the transient doesn't come in right on it. The transient might come a little bit afterwards. So just quick tip, keep an eye on that. Try to do this with your ears. I know it's really hard to just look at it and say, well, I can tell that this is off because it's not lined up with so-and-so marker. It's hard to get out of that mindset, but trust and believe you will do yourself a favor by using your ears more so than anything. See, like, okay, so this one's off a little to me also, but this one's not. So I want to put one there and maybe drag it back a little bit. And keep an eye on these too, because I don't want to affect these. These sounded pretty close. So that I can see that this one's off, and I can also hear that it's off. So I'm going to grab this, and I didn't put a marker here or here, so I let these kind of fluctuate a little bit. Sometimes that helps maintain the natural feeling of the acoustic guitar, because if he just trails a little bit, I can go in and listen back to it and see if I don't need to necessarily snap those to a perfect grid. So this one come in a little bit weird to me. Okay, so now this one, remember in the beginning when I said we're just going to assume that everything here is good? So I want to make sure that that's the start of a downbeat, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so let's preview it. I'm going to try to make this as quick and easy as possible. So that's good to me. Now, let's just say that you've got it where you want it, everything snapped to grid. This isn't perfect by any means. I would actually take a lot more time to get it a little better than what it is right now. But let's just say that it's good. This is the take that you want to keep. So we're going to snap back to grid, because you're going to want to snap the grid for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my multi-tool, or what is that called? I got to learn the names of these things. Link, arrow, and range tools. Okay, select this thing to highlight all of it. And I will click and right click, and I'm going to bounce selection, or Control B for Windows. Now all of that information is bounced into it. So if you were to click the eyeball again, you can't see them because they're not there. You just bounced them all in. So that way, I like doing it kind of that way, because if I were to, like, say I know that's a perfect downbeat right there, and then I know right here, if I did it right, that's a perfect pass. So I should just be able to duplicate that. Lord willing, it'll go into it. So there we go. Now I don't have to worry about it later down the road during editing and stuff like that as we're building the song up. This is the first part. So I can get rid of that. That's just extra stuff. So we've got, yeah, that's pretty much, if I were to duplicate it a bunch of times. So that's pretty much it. That's the quick rundown of how to quantize. The main thing, use your ears. You know, it's awesome to have that visual representation to be able to see the transients and stuff like that, but just because, you know, it's snapped to a perfect grid doesn't mean it's going to sound right. You want to maintain somewhat of kind of a human element in there. I mean, if it's wrong, fix it, but if it does require that certain swing to sound good, keep it in there. You know what I mean? You want to keep that organic kind of flow. Especially to vocals and acoustic guitars and stuff like this, and even drums. You know, you want to keep that human swing sometimes. So I'm done rambling, and if you guys got anything out of this video, continued support is greatly appreciated. I'm almost at 500 subs, which I appreciate every one of you. It's free for you, it helps me out a great deal, and I really want to get to 1,000 subs within the next year or so. So if you got anything from this video, like, and yeah, I will see you guys on the next video. Take it easy.